What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How was your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. And make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. When you guys go to our website, you'll see all the ways that you can follow the podcast. You can follow us at Opposite Pod on everything, or search Opposites Attract Podcast on whatever social media. You can watch the podcast on YouTube and Facebook. And share this with somebody else.
Yes. Can you lower me a bit? I feel like I'm yelling. I feel you're yelling at me too.
Is that better?
Okay.
Is that better?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
What's happening?
What's happening? There's a lot happening. I'm gardening.
Yeah, you're redoing the whole backyard.
Not the entire backyard.
I knew that shit was gonna happen.
Yeah,
no, don't start with that.
What?
You're redoing the whole backyard. Oh, I'm just doing this.
I'm just doing a little bit of this.
Yeah, right.
A little bit of that. It feels so good to get dirty.
Yeah?
Yes. My hands all up in the dirt, just like, it's like making tortillas, when you're just like, up in the mix, massaging it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miguel was like, okay.
I dug a couple holes.
You did. But you had work.
I had other stuff to do.
Other things to do. So it was my nephew and I out there, and he was such a huge help.
Digging and planting and all that.
And all that good stuff. Yeah. And then we had spent some time with the kids. By the way, you guys, just a heads up. We have a cat who now knows how to open doors.
Yeah.
And
open the office door.
Loves being in my office. And I have a feeling that he's going to open that door in the middle of a podcast, and you're going to see him jump on us.
Yeah.
So
if you guys are watching, like right here where my hand is, is where the mixer is for the podcast, and then there's a window like right here. So he'll open the door and then just come and sit on top of this and just like look out the window.
Yeah.
And it like now I get up in the morning and he's already down here just like checking stuff out,
chilling. Yes. Yeah. Crazy cat. Anyways,
so he'll be in here.
He's an orange cat. They say that there's something about these orange cats that they're very silly. Like they do the craziest things that are not normal.
Yeah.
But he is a cutie pie. So anyways, if you guys didn't listen to the previous podcast or the one before that, I would suggest that you do that, because I want to bring up something that I've been sitting with. And being a coach and being a new coach, and what I mean by that is like working under the LLC, strictly like coaching.
Yeah.
It's been a little over a year. And there is so much when you get into like coaching groups, and just when you really start diving into it, there are so many like different beliefs and different ways, like some coaches, and what they're into, that it's confusing.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of good friends that are
confusing. In what way?
Different beliefs.
Okay.
Different ways to get to enlightenment or spiritual awakening, awareness, consciousness. And I was just thinking about my experience that I had shared with you all on the previous podcast.
The one before.
About Bufo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DMT and all that.
Yes. And I can see how you can get caught up with these medicines, especially when you're on your healing journey and you're trying to figure this thing out.
You're searching.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, before I went down this path of trying these medicines, I had a relationship with what I call God, right? For those of you that don't believe, a higher consciousness, whatever, intuitive, like just having that intuition where it's like having that, I tell my clients, like that little angel and that little devil on your shoulder, right?
Yeah.
The little angel always gives you the good advice. The little devil's always wanting you to do shit that's not going to do well, or telling you just stay home. You don't have to do that, or whatever, right? He's the one giving you some bad advice. Some people refer to it as your ego, whatever. Okay. So like being able to sit with myself and really process the experience that I went through, and talking to you, like having really deep conversations with you, and God, and just all these different paths that there is. You may take a shortcut that you're not ready for, especially if you haven't been on your healing journey. Right? Like if you haven't worked on yourself and processed trauma and pain, and why at times maybe you feel jealous, maybe at times you feel insecure, maybe at times why you are, living an egotistic life. What is that? What is ego? Like if you
haven't even thought about these things.
Yes. For you to go on to this journey, you may have scary...
It might be bad.
Yes. And so we all have the ability to reach these, or to reach your highest or your true self, consciousness, whatever, without these medicines, right?
Yeah.
Though they do have benefits to them. The combo, for one.
Yeah, that's not
the medical,
one that...
But that's not a psychedelic.
That's more of a physical one.
Right.
Yeah, it makes you feel better.
Which one?
The Cambo.
No, yeah, there's actual...
Yeah, but I'm saying it's not one that changes your perspective on things or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not a psychedelic. It's
right.
more of like a medicine
it's a physical
for...
one.
Yes,
it's a physical one.
Yes. It won't take you through a spiritual journey.
Right.
Bufo is that.
Yeah. The DMT.
Psilocybin is that.
Yeah.
Right? Ayahuasca is that. And who knows? I may be wrong. I'm just sharing with you guys my experience. And I'm glad that I had the experience. Will I do it again? I don't know. Like if I feel called to, like if I feel like God is directing me, or I am, right, then maybe. But I feel that when that time is ready,
you'll know.
Then I will know.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel that the first experience had to take place, or did take place, in order to show me that I am capable of, because I already knew that we were all connected. Like that we were all just intertwined, right? The people that come into your life, I've always said it. So if you've been listening to this podcast, people come into your life for reasons, seasons, lessons. What?
Yeah. No, it's good. It sounds good. It rhymes. People love that shit. If it rhymes, let's do it. Reasons, seasons.
It's true though.
Yeah.
You get into think about your previous relationship.
That's just how things are.
What were the lessons you learned from that? You know? You go through challenges, and most of those challenges are for you to learn something.
I guess, babe. You know, like I've told you, like as humans, we always want to, there's got to be a fucking reason for everything. Maybe things just are. How about that?
Maybe.
But what I'm saying is that everybody always wants to find a reason. Why? Why is that? Oh, this is the reason. And that messes us up a lot of times. When you're always looking for a reason, and then you find the wrong reason, but you swear that it's the right one.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
I can't think of one specifically, but I've looked this kind of stuff up. Like when something is hard to figure out, mm-hmm. but as humans, we can't just leave it at that. Like it's unsolved. Our brain needs to solve things. Like why? What's the reason for this? Why is that way? And then you start thinking, oh, well, maybe it's because of this, or their uncle did this, or whatever their experience was this. And it's something completely different. It's just the fucking story that you made up.
Right. Because reason. You don't know the person. But if I'm talking about me.
Okay. It could be the same thing I was thinking about this with history. Mm-hmm. We were having a conversation a couple days ago or whatever, like about consciousness and beliefs and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Right. And I was telling you that my beliefs are more like Plato. You know, because people will like a big part of your identity is invested in your belief. So if you've been telling everybody that this is my belief, it's kind of hard to go back around and be like, yeah, I don't believe that anymore. You know? So I've always felt like, or not always felt, but I told you recently that I feel it's more like Plato. Like it takes a little bit of everything to kind of put together what I believe. And even still, it's not solid. It can change because it's all based off of information that other people research, that's based off of other stuff, history, archaeology, like all of these things. But what happens if we find out, which we have in the past, that some of this stuff may be wrong, right? Like the timetable maybe of humans, right? They end up finding all kinds of other stuff that maybe dates humans back even more. So it kind of changes the fucking Plato a little bit.
Right.
Right. When I remember being, this goes to the same thing. I remember being a little kid, and as kids, we can all probably remember the mystery of Atlantis, right? It was like some magical civilization that got swallowed up by the ocean that is underwater with mermaids or some shit like that, right? Sounds fucking insane. And then you start finding out about civilizations that got covered up, like Darren Kuyu in freaking Turkey, or Göbekli Tepe, or whatever the hell they fucking call it. But there's these old civilizations that it seems like maybe something happened that wiped them out. You know, so like, how does that play into your beliefs? You're still going to stick to the same shit that you believe all the time when there's all kinds of evidence that maybe suggests that things were a little bit different?
Yes. I think we're talking about two different things though, babe. You're like totally over here. And I was talking about healing and the things that we go through and the trauma and the pain and, you know, all of that. I was talking about that. I wasn't talking about like religion or spirituality. You're talking about religion, spirituality, or your beliefs. And I'm talking about trauma and pain and how it affects you.
Yeah, but we were talking about the reasons for things. Like why it had to do with like trying to explain stuff that we don't know.
Okay.
That's what we were getting at. But anyway, yeah, we get fucking sidetracked all the time.
I'm like, what?
You guys know that shit. But go ahead with your trauma and pain.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's good to question those. That's what I was getting. Like, it's good to question why you're feeling a certain way and not run from it, right? Like, toxic positivity is like when you're always having to feel like you have to be happy, or you feel bad because you're feeling bad, or you're feeling sad, or it's like, no, that's not good. You can't feel that way. You're supposed to feel happy, and there goes the kitty cat and joyful. And that's what I was getting to is questioning that. And most people, it's so hard to even question that they want an easy way out. They don't want to face what is really happening within. So then they'll go have an ayahuasca retreat, or they will try all these things trying to tap into that versus just really going in and looking in the mirror. you know? So I was just thinking, like, if you heard the last podcast, maybe I planted a seed of like, oh, you got to go try this bufo, or, oh, you got to go try this. Oh, and it wasn't sitting well with me, right? All I was doing was I was sharing my experience with you, but those that may want to feel what I felt, or just, do you understand? They may want to go that route versus going through the journey of the healing process. Oh, he so wants to get into the window.
For those of you that are watching, you guys just met Sonny.
Yes.
He opened the door to the office and jumped in my lap. And he's trying to get up on the mixer.
So we have, he's so cute. So we have
all right, keep it going for a minute.
And that sees out the front, and I have these hummingbird feeders and bird feeders. So he likes to, there he goes. He likes to bird watch. And Miguel thinks he's going to keep him out because this cat has become an expert at opening our door. And it's funny as shit because the door it's heavy and, you really have to push it open. So anyways, there is Sonny. And so anyways, that's not what I meant to do. So, those of you that watched the previous podcast, just know this. By questioning what you're feeling will lead you to your answers. It will lead you to what you're looking for. Everything that you are looking for, you have within. And that's really what I have to keep reminding myself, because there's so much out there. There is so much out there that promises healing, whether it's, and this may rub some people the wrong way. And again, like, I don't know, but, with the whole, like crystals, there's something with these things where they feel that they can heal you. And have
you felt in the past like that?
No. I like them. I like the way they look.
But like, have you felt like maybe one of them can help make you happy if you're sad?
No. That you have to make you
or helps happy. maybe attract money.
No. Mm-mm. I've never felt
or
that
bad
way.
energy
towards crystals.
Or something that'll repel bad energy.
Mm-mm. I wear them because I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our son loves them. He collects them. That boy.
Right? Yeah, but just because he likes what they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wants to be a geologist and he knows everything about them.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing this up because there's, I've been reading a lot, and it's easy to get caught up and get into some things that are not for you.
Yeah. I mean, you've been talking about recently, it's very hard. And I think a lot of us have recently had an example of like trying to figure out what the hell is what. Yeah. Like you go back a few years when COVID was like first starting out, like we didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. And we were being lied to.
Right.
And
by the people that we trust.
Exactly. So it kind of messes with your reality. Mm-hmm. Like, what the hell is what? And mentally, like just thinking about this, like having to process life, right? Going through a pandemic, finding out that the government that is supposed to be here for you is lying to you, and that started some crazy ass shit that spread all over the world. Mm-hmm. Beliefs. Well, this happening and having people dying has you starting to question, what is my purpose? What are we doing? Because we might die.
Our time is limited, which it is anyway.
Which then starts leading to, well, this person believes this person believes that. What do I believe? I think this, and then, but there's always like evidence of other things that makes you question stuff. And then you already know that things may not be what they seem.
Right.
sometimes, so it's a lot. It's a lot to have to like figure out. I remember there was a time during COVID, like it was all the information about that. Then I started learning about religion and all the stuff that's intertwined with that. And then, it's just like history. Same thing goes for history. There's one thing that I don't think I've ever mentioned, but it's good to remember. It was a quote, and I can't remember who wrote it. I should write it down in my list. But it's history is written by the victors. That's important to understand. Whatever you read about history was written by the people that won whatever that was.
Yeah.
So that is their version of it. There's always like there's another side to it that we probably don't get to hear because they didn't get to write that side.
Yeah. I don't know. This journey is just, there's so much information out there. It's like an overload, right? It's just an overload of information. And I am like at that point where I'm just like, oh, I'm done. Like this is so much and it's so overwhelming. And it's like, you know what? Just sit with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sit with you and ask you who you are. Ask you what makes you happy. Ask you what you want in life.
What do you believe and why? And
sit with you. Like I always tell you guys that the answers are in the stillness. It's in the stillness. It's in the stillness. And when there's a lot of noise, that's what brings confusion. And I've just had a taste of that, and I started looking stuff up and I'm like, yeah, there's just so much out there. And
you were telling me that you were talking to a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that what you were kind of getting at? You guys were kind of talking.
I mean, that's where this is coming up.
Right.
This is where this talk is coming up from.
Right. But. And what was I don't know if you want to share that.
Oh yeah, let's get into that. So
why did the conversation start?
I reached out to him because
to another coach friend of yours,
who I respect, who I met before India, and he really helped me in India, but allowed me to help myself kind of deal, didn't give me the answers of what I needed.
Right.
And I've been in contact with him back and forth because I'm preparing to see, okay, who's my next coach kind of deal. And so I had sent him a message and I was just being honest with him and sharing with him where I'm at. And this was one of those things. Hard truths. Hard truths. And I was sharing with him about our family and how I love my life and I am so comfortable.
Yeah.
And we're not in need.
Yeah.
And I realized that I procrastinate a lot. And I started really digging in and questioning where that was coming from. And I was sharing this message with him, just like being real honest with him. And he came back because I was talking to him about how I want, again, it's searching, not trusting. It's searching for that coach to guide me into
what you feel is success. Is it like what you feel is success?
It's almost like I think I want to hire a babysitter because I don't trust myself.
You need to hire a manager.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
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 Because I can get up when I want to get up. I can make my calls when I want to make my calls.
Yeah.
Right?
But you need somebody to tell you to get up and make your calls, or else you're in trouble.
It's like accountability, having that accountability.
Yeah.
Right? And because I can go about my day and I'll wake up and, ooh, I want to go for a hike, be in nature. Ooh, I want to plant. I want to garden. I want to read this book. Right? All these things. And then next thing you know it, I look at the time and I have to go pick up Adriana.
Yeah, and then work.
And then you're coming home, and by that time, I want to be with you guys.
You don't want to be working.
I don't want to do the work. I want to be with you guys.
When you should have been working before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was sharing all this with him, and being very honest with him. And what's so funny is that while I'm sharing the message with him, my answers are coming to me.
Okay.
My truth is coming to me. Like, it's not that I'm doubting the coaches that I'm connecting with. It's that I'm doubting myself because I don't believe I'm going to do the work.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
I don't trust myself.
That if you spend the money, you're still going to do the work that it takes to do what you got to do.
Right. And before I do that, I need to sit my ass down
and do some
and
shit.
do it.
Yeah.
Not when I feel like it, but do it.
When you're supposed to.
Yes. And what I realized, so I've been asking, I'm honest. Like, I'm just honest. Like, I don't pretend that I am making thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Right.
Right?
From your coaching. Like, we're not faking it till we make it.
No, I don't do that. Right? I don't do that. And so when I'm struggling, I have friends that are coaches that I can call.
Yeah.
And I also, before I make those calls, have a conversation with myself to find out what's going on, what's happening within. But it's funny because the message, normally, like with him, I was leaving the message and the truth was coming out of what was holding me back from doing the thing that I need to do. And it's being comfortable
in life.
Yeah. But I'm doing a disservice.
Yeah.
So looking in the mirror and self-reflecting, and he asked me, he told me, he said, well, he's like, when you're spiritually connected, like you have this desire to fulfill that purpose. And then he started talking to me about spirituality and how there's pseudo-spirituality, you know, and pseudoscience. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And that's when I started looking things up.
And that's when you start
and then
getting...
things started to make sense to me.
Yeah.
And I listened to his voice message like probably 8 times to really listen to what he's saying.
Yeah.
And he's like, Sonja, you hit it. It's not that you doubt me being the coach. You doubt yourself.
And there's nothing that anybody can do for you.
And he said, like he just told me, you have, and I know that, like I know that I have everything like that it takes. But when it comes to like spirituality, it's a journey. And I found that I wanted the fast route. And that's how all this other stuff was just kind of like unfolding, you know?
I don't want to say, I don't know. Yeah.
And then I sit with myself, of course. And it's like all the answers lie here. And it's so funny because I've been that and I've known that, but I got off track.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I forgive me. Like I had to forgive myself for doing that. It's like what I teach my clients. Like I tell them, I have no magic powers. I'm simply that person who has the lights when you go to a large concert or you go somewhere and it's someone that has these lights and they're directing you where to park. I am directing you within. It's funny. That's what I tell them. Yeah. It's all within you. Everything that you've been looking for is within you. But what I've learned as well, a mechanic will always have a jacked up car. A painter will always have a house that needs to be painted.
Yeah. You said you have everything within you and you keep searching.
But that's my journey though, right? Like that's my journey. That's what I had to come back to.
And the searching. I don't want to tell you, your steps or whatever. We have a visitor. He's freaking
he's going to open it.
Yeah, he's rolling around opening the door. But
you and I had a conversation.
Yes, we did.
Yes. And we were at the table and I was having this conversation that I'm having with you all with Miguel.
And things got intense.
Yes. And I've never experienced that from you.
You've never experienced me in that way.
No. No, that was coming from a deeper place. It's you.
Like sometimes it's hard. It's hard. And I told you as soon as we were done talking, I was like, there is no way that I will ever be able to explain this like this again.
What made you say that though?
Because it's in the moment and it's like what we're talking about. Maybe if I really sit down, it's one of these things kind of like we were talking about with BNS that you don't really think about. But if you sit down, if I was to really focus all my energy and attention on the conversation that we had, I could probably figure out how to explain it in that way. But it's not easy.
Yeah. But why were you so intense? Like you were very...
Because it was like just everything that we're talking about. It's probably the 1,000th time that we've talked about the same thing in a different way. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it came out. I know you want to add more to it.
No, I don't.
It is what it is. We had a conversation. Mm-hmm. Some conversations are more intense than others. Sometimes we're also looking and sending texts at the same time that we're having conversations. That time we weren't. We were sitting and listening to each other intently. Exactly what we were, we were focused on each other, listening, having a real conversation. It wasn't like, I'm thinking about planting my fucking garden in the back. So we had a moment, and there's been moments like that I've had that are not like some super deep thing. This time it happened to be that way. Maybe it's just me talking to the kids about something, about a lesson or whatever. And it just kind of comes out, but I'm never going to be able to explain it to anybody else the way I did to Joey or to Audrey, that lesson that we were talking about, right?
Right. That is...
But you want to make that a spiritual thing. Like that was a spiritual moment for you, wasn't it? Pretty much.
It was an intimate moment with you. Because for one, normally when we're speaking, your eye contact is never solid. And you're normally not that intense. That you were just very direct. And I needed that at that time for me to hear you. And I think that's what it was, that you put off that Like you were very firm and direct. And that's why I heard you.
Yeah.
And you called me out. You're like, I don't know how many more people you're going to have to hear this from. Like you called me out. And I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
And I felt that deep connection with you.
So I want to try to get into it. How did, like we were talking about these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we were just talking about your procrastination. But then it ended up turning back towards like reading the Bible and all that other stuff. Can you grab him, please? And, oh, geez.
Just wait, Randy.
I called my nephew to try and come and get the cat so he's not jumping
He saw
on our
Randy
stuff.
and he freaking jot under the sofa. We're going to have to put a lock on the door.
Yep.
He keeps opening it. It's so funny.
So.
We thought it was cute until it wasn't
Yeah.
cute anymore.
So it ended up, was it like the conversation turned from procrastination to probably not believing in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is why you don't want to spend the money because you don't believe that you can do it, which kind of turns into more of a spiritual conversation of what Jesus was trying to teach people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, is that kind of how we started getting into it?
I was talking to you about the pseudoscience and.
But pretty much what it was kind of coming down to is we got into the conversation of some of the coaches that you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
That have like, there's a lot of people that we'll meet that are spiritual people that are very open to a lot of things, but they still have an attachment to a certain religion. For some reason, like you've said it before, Jesus is my man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that. I'm open and I accept everybody and I can see everybody's different beliefs. I don't know why. I can't tell you, but Christianity is my thing. You know, and when you kind of believe what I believe, there is no religions. All religions were made by people.
Mm-hmm.
And we are all different in our own ways, but we are all the same. We all came from the same place. We all have the same things, right? Like physically or whatever. Like, I mean, if you go back far enough, we all came from Africa, right? That's what, Jesus Christ is free.
Just let him look out the window. If you let him look out the window, he'll be fine.
And I keep telling you, like, I feel that Jesus was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking crazy to say that when the entire fucking world believes that he created everything, right?
God created
everything. What I'm saying is that the majority of the world believe that he created everything.
No, God created everything. Jesus came in later on.
All right, we can get into the whole whatever 3-in-1. But what he was teaching, it seems, because he didn't write anything down, was that we are the creators of our world based on the beliefs that you have in your brain, within yourself, of yourself.
Yeah.
He was trying to teach people that they are enough, that they have everything.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing.
Yes. The kingdom of God is within you. I and my Father are one. Ye are gods.
Yeah, okay. Which was written by people. But I keep telling you that what it got down to is like, if you're so open, like, why have this attachment to this one thing? If Jesus was a person that taught people, and we're all people that teach people, it sounds like disrespectful to say that I'm the same as your God. But I am. We all are. And that's kind of what we were. You see what I'm saying? Like, there is absolutely no way to explain it again that way. Mm-hmm. But it was coming down to, like, you're searching and searching and searching for Jesus. I'm like, You are it. And that's what it got down to. Like, I don't know who's going to have to explain this to you or how many times you're going to have to hear it. You are it. Whatever you think the God is, or it is you.
Yeah. And so those are the intense conversations that we have at the kitchen table.
Yeah. But.
And.
Because this is how we ended up getting to it. Because it was a good way, like you were saying, that there's like a lot of times there's levels to things. There's levels to understanding, right?
Yes.
No, there's just levels to everything. There's levels to fighting. There's levels to your career. There's levels to how good people make ice cream. There's levels to everything, right? And you've said it, like there's levels to spirituality. Like you get to certain places, and I told you that, yeah, there are levels, and it seems like there's levels. And one level is when you have an attachment to a religion and you're just like, this is it. Like whatever, like I am 100% down with this, whatever that religion is, and only that. Yeah, I know there's other stuff out there, but this is mine. And this is what I believe 100%. Then the next level is, this is my religion, but I understand there's other religions out there. And you know, maybe they have their beliefs too, right? And then the other one is like, yeah, there's all kinds of religions. I'm not really too sure which one's which, but I was born Christian, so I'll just be Christian, right? There's other ones where, but what I'm saying is like, it seems like you're getting further and like the attachment is less and less. And the way I see it is eventually you get to a point where there is no attachment to anything, to any religion, just to people, just to us, to humanity. That is the only attachment, is humanity. And I have a feeling that is the last level. There is no level past that. You know what I mean? And to make that, to put that into and wrap it into a belief is tough.
At that point, there is no belief. It's belief in self.
We're back to that. You know? Yeah. These are the things that we talk about. But yeah, anyway, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. When you guys go there, you'll see all the ways that you can follow the podcast. You can follow us at Opposite Pod everywhere, or just search Opposites Attract Podcast. Like we said before, the best thing you can do is share this with somebody else. Find our Clips channel on YouTube. And yeah, share the clips. We put out 2 clips every week, clips about all kinds of different stuff. And yeah, the best thing that you can do is just let somebody else know that we're out here doing this, and
if you have a friend, like if you have a friend that you feel would be interested in the episode or in our podcast, if you send them to our YouTube clips website, or just send them a video, like you said, from there,
and tell them to subscribe.
And from that point, they can either watch all the clips or they can actually listen to the entire podcast.
Yeah.
And
and if you guys want to support the show, you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com, and you'll see the support the show tab at the top. When you click on that, it'll take you to our Amazon link, and anything that you guys purchase through the Amazon link doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps out the show. We get a little kickback whenever you guys shop through our link, and we definitely appreciate it.
Yes, and if you would like to support the show in a different manner, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod and buy us a virtual drink, and you can subscribe to that on a monthly basis as well.
Nice. So yeah, my little brother Nug, shout out to Nug, he sent me a video earlier in the week of somebody that we've listened to a couple of his books, and we've talked about quite a bit on the podcast, of David Goggins. And it has to do with something that we watched a video a couple weeks ago, and we made a clip about it. Make sure you guys go back and check it out, about Denzel Washington, and it had to do with like the duty of a man. And kind kind of wanted to kind of continue on from where we left that time and take a look at this clip real quick, and then we can kind of talk about it. And here we go.
My mom would tell you right now, she's right there sitting.
Yes, she is.
She knows I don't buy myself shit. I take great pride in that. I don't want shit. Because how I'm wired to, hey mom, I'm gonna get you this, and this. My girl, everybody's got everything. I don't even own a fucking car, and I'm a multi-millionaire. That's the pride in which you have as a man, is that you see your mom, you see your girl, you see your kids, you see all this shit, you see them doing well. That's all a real man wants. They don't give a fuck about how they dress, how they look, what they're driving. They don't give a shit. Because why? Your trophies are your family, and they're all walking around. Every man that sees you, they see you walking in with some sweatpants and shit, but they know your family's fucking balling. Because you put the fucking time in, you put the effort in, you put the work in. And as a man, we don't want none of that shit. We just want fucking respect. But the only thing I want is for my family to look at me and say, that's the man. Right there. When things are bad, my family looks to me.
As they should.
As they should.
That's your job.
That is my fucking job. And I earned that. It's not given because you wake up and you're a man.
And it feels real good.
It feels amazing. When anything goes wrong in my family, if there's a flat tire, they don't call fucking AAA. They call David fucking Goggins. And that's earned. That's a good feeling. My mom would tell you right now, she's...
Yeah.
Some real
That's
shit.
That's you.
Except, I don't know if David Goggins talks about this, but every once in a while I have these fucking freak out moments, where you wake up and it's like, oh, look at all this. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you mean? Look at all
dude,
this.
I'm just saying sometimes as a dude, like if as a guy, there's a lot going on all the time, right? I mean, if you have a family and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a man.
Yeah.
You're always going because you got to get the kids to jiu-jitsu or to soccer practice or to football practice. You got to take the daughter to gymnastics, or you got to take them to the quinceañera practice. And then your wife's got, her side business, or she's going to fucking Pilates or whatever the hell. She's going to work and picking up the kids and dropping them off and doing so you're thinking about the bills and paying the mortgage and the economy and like everything that happens. And when you look around and like you see how far you've come, it's like, damn, like we're doing awesome. But shit can change, and it's like I gotta keep this fucking going. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but that does come up sometimes, and it's just like, it's like Finding Nemo. It's like, just keep swimming, and then everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. I don't know if that's like a bad thing, but it's part of life.
So not every man is that, right? Not every man helps out the women, like their significant other. When they go to work, they come back, it's done.
Well, that's a different...
Right? Like you are...
Well, we're in this shit together.
Right. Like we have each other's back.
Yeah.
We go shopping together.
You just mentioned that. And that is something important to remember too. Because when it is a family like ours, that is something that does take some relief from it. Because the pressure would be way freaking higher if it wasn't like a family that acts as a team, right, as we do.
Right.
Because we've recently had conversations with the kids about we're not doing that. Because we don't have the money for that right now. We're focused on something else. Mm-hmm. But we're all in it together. And it's not like, how come we can't?
Yeah, they understand.
And when that kind of stuff happens, it's because you guys aren't in it together and you don't understand.
Right.
So that is something that I do appreciate.
Yeah.
And it's a huge relief. But as a man, like there is nothing that will like that is just part of being a man. You know, that is the duty of a man. Like we were talking about in the other video with Denzel, right? And it does feel good. It does feel good, and it can be scary, you know, because the world is a crazy place, which is why you have to prepare.
Mm-hmm. And in that, yeah, like the roles that we play to help each other are so important. I remember when COVID was happening, my business, the Trust Inc., had kicked off.
Yeah.
You started a new position.
Right. Yeah.
You were working a lot from home, and normally that was not the case. And it took that for me to really understand the stress of a man. You, of my man.
Yeah.
But it also related to all men. During that time, it was a bit difficult because I am, like, we've been together for so long. I can feel, even though I could feel what you were going through. And there was a shift that had to take place within me. Like, what can I do to help relieve him of the stress?
Yeah.
And as a woman, it's for you, it was the little things. It was, what can I do to help you? Seeing when you were stressed, whether it was about work or, you know, having to do the things that you need to do. What can I do to help him? Whether it was making you food, whether it was making you coffee, serving you, it's all the little things.
Yeah.
Making sure that you were taken care of sexually. Relieving some stress there.
Yep.
Making sure those groceries. You know, it's like doing my part. Providing, you know, just even the hugs and the kisses and like just getting to that level of understanding. And relieving whatever I can. Because as men, in your own head, because they are not like women, they're not telling you what's happening. They're not talking about their fears. They're not talking about their doubts. They're not talking about what's happening in the world. And, oh my goodness, like I have to do this. I have to do that. There's a food. We go to the grocery store, right? And there's no food on the shelves, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is going on through a man's head? Because they are known as as providers. They are that.
You know what?
Protectors. They are that.
That is a good point.
And you walk into a grocery store and you see the empty shelves.
And you see the empty shelves. That's a scary thing. I remember seeing that.
But you never expressed what you were feeling.
You want to know what?
I already,
If my family, these were my thoughts. Like, I try to be a good person and do good things, you know,
You are a good person.
But when you see an empty shelf of food and you have the thought of that your family could possibly starve, dark shit
No.
comes into your head.
We went and bought a shitload of bullets.
I mean, and I don't think people think about that. Like, I've thought about these things. You know, like when the things that you wouldn't think people or that you would be capable of doing, but put in a certain situation, you'd be surprised what you're capable of. Doesn't make it good or bad or whatever, but yeah, anyway, that was a fucked up thought. But I remember having that.
Yeah.
I remember having that.
See, and
recently we had a conversation about stuff like that. And I don't know what it was, like you had brought it up that there's a lot of times that I just keep things to myself.
mm-hmm.
You know, because I do see things that are happening in the world, and you had brought up something that you had got from somebody.
Oh yes, that's when I started looking stuff up, and
what was that? What was it called? You have your phone.
Yeah, I think I had
But-
deleted it. But she was saying, as a coach,
It's in your deleted folder.
that most coaches do not look at the news.
It's kind of like what you were talking about earlier, how if all you do is you're happy-go-lucky and everything is positive all the time, you're doing your people a disservice.
Right.
Because that's not the world that we live in. And part of the conversation that we were having too is looking at everything that's happening in the world and how crazy the world is, and how as humans, we do not deal with change very well.
Right.
We do not like change. We don't even like fucking thinking about it. It's like business as usual. Like whatever I whatever I do, like every day I do that. Like wake up, go to work, do that. And like, I don't want to think about that changing. And for shit, sure, I don't want to think about like the shit that's happening in the rest of the world happening here. Like we were having a talk about these things, and like we stopped to listen a little bit, and like the sun is shining outside.
It's beautiful.
The birds are chirping.
Yes.
You know, but we're having talks about like what's happening. We were having a talk about beliefs and all people's different beliefs and all these different things, and how people's different beliefs makes them do different things, and how that ends up leading to freaking Israel and Ukraine, and how people are fucking running the world based off of their fucking beliefs that might be all messed up or not even correct, most likely not correct, and how they have so much power like to do things and to like wreck shit. 5 minutes before that, I think we were talking about where we were going to get the money to get this pickup truck so that we could go camping more. And it's like, this is fucking insane. This is how you drive yourself crazy. It's like, are we preparing to go camping, or are we preparing for war? Like, do I need to take all of our fucking money and go buy more bullets and like cans of food? Or are we getting ready to go on a picnic? Because it seems nice outside, but the world seems like it's falling apart. You know, like life is fucking weird.
You just got to do your best. That's it. Like, to live in fear is not living. To be aware, yes.
Yeah.
But to live in fear is not living, because you will drive yourself absolutely bananas. So to be aware, you can help in whatever way you can help. Living in ignorance is not good as well.
Yeah.
And with that,
You know, yeah. And with that, no, before we get out of here, I told you recently that there's 2 books that keep kind of coming back, and I got to listen to them again. But when we kind of talk about all these things and like process life and all these things more, because we think about it like all the time, right? Is Man's Search for Meaning. And that was written by Viktor Frankl. It was written by the psychologist that was captured in Auschwitz. He was in the Auschwitz camp during the Holocaust, and he was a psychologist, and he was just kind of like sharing what he saw, you know, and people's sense of purpose and what a sense of purpose does for people. And the name of that book is Man's Search for Meaning. And then the other one that really just kind of I didn't understand, and it was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And that was a book that was suggested to me by Elon Musk. Just kidding. It was in a YouTube video. But he suggested it, and he said it was his favorite book, and I went and checked it out. And when I was listening to this book, definitely go check it out. But at the end of this book, like, everything is so random. Like, there's these aliens, and the dude, like, Earth is getting destroyed, and this guy goes up to, you know, space, and he's flying around space, and it's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And everything is just so crazy. At the end of the book, I was just like, I don't get it. Like, this is supposed to explain life? That was the craziest shit I ever read or listened to. You know what I mean? And then you look at life and you see everything that's happening and everybody's different beliefs and all the weird shit that people do here and all over the world. And the reasons for things and how they may not be, but maybe they could be, and then the weird shit. And it's like, it's all over before you know it. Enjoy it and have fun. Is pretty much what that book comes down to. And I got to listen to them again, because now that I understand things even more differently, I want to listen to them again. And if you guys want to pick them up, make sure you guys do that through our website, through our link, by going to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com, and clicking on the Support the Show tab and shopping on Amazon through that link.
Yes. Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
Where we get better
together.
Bye.
Bye.